I know we got someone helping people. So this concept called leadership is an interesting one that I want to start out with, to define leadership. And before I jump into that, I just invite each of you to think about someone who you consider a great leader. And I'd like you to write in the chat what are some of the qualities and characteristics of that great leader. And it could be someone you've read about, someone in history, someone you've worked with, someone could be your parents, you know. So please jot down some of the qualities and characteristics. Then we're going to take a look at those. Then we're going to get into some definitions of what leadership in our profession is, different than maybe some other ones. Okay, we have passionate, integrity, believers, unending patience, good listener, courageous, open minded. This is great, you guys. All of these are true. Present, excellent communication, warm and caring, authentic, get in the trenches with others, encouragement, consistency. Oh, you guys are great. Teachable, great work ethic. Okay, so let's stop for a second. And when we look at all of these characteristics and you review them, and living in the question of how many are skill based and how many are actually, boy, he put me big on this screen here. It's a little scary. How many are actually skill based and how many are attitude? So when you look at those things, and let me move this around because so fearless, focused, visionary, determined. Let's just go through a few of them. Big believers, integrity. Are these skills or are these, hello, skills or attitude? What are the majority of these characteristics? Skills or attitude? You can just,
Attitude.
isn't that interesting? So some of the leaders that you think when you look at and think of what makes a great leader, it's mostly attitude. Now, when you look at a great listener, is that skill or attitude? It's actually
Both.
both.
I think
It's
it's
actually
both.
both.
Yes.
You can go to great listening school and you can get an A in listening school. Does that mean you're going to be a great listener?
No.
You got to want to be a great listener, and it is one of the key ingredients in leadership is being a great listener. And so, when you look at these characteristics and you think about who has all these great attitudes, who has all these great skills, can they be developed, and how quickly can they change? And in our world, so many people think that leadership is actually position, but when we look at network marketing, is it really position? It's influence. And, being a student of leadership for so many years, one of my absolute favorite definitions of leadership is when you're in the presence of that person, you feel better about yourself. And some of you have heard my old story about Jack. He was my first boss out of college, and he embodied everything. He's the one who really got me into learning about leadership because he embodied all of the best of the best. And in our business, we talk about this all the time. We're here to grow people. But before we get to that and influence people, we need to lead ourselves first. And this is where Stephen Covey's work comes in so beautifully because he talks about personal leadership, then managerial, and then organizational leadership. We've got to start here.
Mm.
We, as leaders in our own business, and I'm going to come back to this list in a little bit. First, we have to be consistent and use the products. We have to show up, on trainings, calls. We have to practice growing every day. And we want to model and embody what we're asking our teams to do. So leading by example is crucial in our business. Leadership is not title. Think of the people that have a lot of volume. Does that mean they're a great leader? No. Are they truly living and embodying what you want to be. Because good leaders are coachable, they're always open. They handle challenges calmly and solution oriented. Gregory's been a great mentor for me because stuff shows up in our business because we're dealing with people. And, and you hear this amazing, very convincing story from someone about a situation, and it's so easy to buy in that they're right. But what Gregory taught me a long time ago, there's always at least three sides to every story. So our job as leaders is to stay in neutrality, gather information, and help people get to that next resolution in a way that works best for everyone. Leaders are in service, not control. This is huge because a lot of people think, oh, I've got this title, I can tell people what to do. You know that old line? You know, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. How well does telling work? And, for those of you that were on the training on Saturday, in the different personality profiles, there's the dominant personality, the high D, the red, whatever you want to call it, the one that likes to be in control and get the job done, can have a tendency to be very directive. And it doesn't work for me. And I remember having a boyfriend years ago, and I said, if you really want what you want from me, asking works better than telling. I want to be asked. I don't want to be told. And I think that's true for most of us. So as leaders is to, if you have a natural wiring of being a director, of being a dominant, of being someone who likes to control things and get the job done, it's that much more important to be hyper aware of how you're delivering your information. Are you asking or telling? And Gregory was, brought that up a little while ago because Gregory can have a tendency to get into the directive mode, and I'll just, instead of judging, I'll just say, would you like to say that another way? Would you like to ask versus tell? And so really learning to work with all the different personalities, because in our business, a lot of people end up as what we call accidental leaders. You get into, and this happened to me when I first started, I tried a product. It worked really, really well. I could not share. All of a sudden I had a team. That wasn't my intention. And in LifeWave, I started as a customer. I think a lot of you know that. Gregory came on a little bit later. I had no intention of building a business. You never know who's going to turn into one of your leaders. And so from that place, it's always to be open and coachable. We want to celebrate others more than ourselves. It's not about us. It's not about controlling. It's about asking, not giving orders, listening more than you talk, and meeting people where they are. Remember that definition of coach is to convey a valued person from where they are to where they want to be, not where we want them to be, need them to be, think they can be, have the potential to be. It's not about us. It's always about them. We're here to grow people. We're here to grow leaders. We're not here to grow followers. We're here to grow leaders so that they can, it's so wonderful, because we started 7 years ago and we have some very, very large players in our organization. It's so wonderful that we have leaders that do their own things. For instance, Marcy's group, they're underneath us. The Merits Group, they're underneath us. They have their own leadership style. Their people's values create a culture, and they are often running, and isn't it wonderful? We don't have to lead everyone. So it's really important to come from a place of encouraging people to grow and to progress. It's never about perfection. We want people to feel in our presence that they're valued, that they're safe, that they're, thanks our team for taking care of things. And as we're developing people, it's not just about the volume. It's of course, we want to teach these simple, duplicatable systems and help people set goals and track their progress. We want to identify strengths and encourage leadership. We want to train people to train others. Remember, it's about duplication. It's not just duplication in the systems, it's duplication in growing leaders, empowering people to step in. I had a wonderful talk with Jim Maver the other day, and it has been such a joy to witness Jim blossoming into a great leader. Jim is our sugar man. In case you don't know Jim, he's our sugar man. He's been in the maple syrup business since his entire life. He never had to manage people. He was managing trees, he wasn't managing people. And he has blossomed into this great leader as he's continually developing his own skills and growing. So, one of my greatest joys is to sit back and not be in the forefront, but have you guys be in the forefront and watching people blossom. He says, I'm so much more confident, Robin. I hope it's okay, Jim. I didn't even ask permission, but I think you'd say it's okay. I'm confident. I'm stronger. I love working with my people. I love finding out what they need. So remembering that our income grows when our people grow. And you've heard me share Jim Rohn's quote a lot, work twice as hard on yourself as you do on your business because you are your business. Help your people develop themselves, creating vision and belief. Success in life comes from belief. And we talk about the 4 different areas of belief. We can do a whole training on that, belief in ourself. Belief in our products, our company, belief in our profession. And when someone is stuck in their business, I quickly do a belief assessment, on a scale of 1 to 10 through those areas, belief in the products, company, belief in yourself, belief in the profession, and find out what number are they. That's where the work is. If anything is below an 8, our job as an upline and support and leader is to help them strengthen whatever area that is, because that's the one that's going to control their success. So if you come across someone that has belief, get out of the way because they're going to make it happen. And so our job is to create that safe place. Greg, you hear Gregory and I talk about, network marketing is a greenhouse. It's a safe place to grow people. That's what we do, is grow people.